Hello again and welcome back. This is Michael from TOEFLresources.com, and in today's video, a complete TOEFL writing test. In just a moment, I'll give you a TOEFL integrated writing question and a TOEFL independent writing question. When those are done, I'll give you my responses to each of the questions, and I'll explain what makes my essays good TOEFL essays. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll explain how you can get your practice essays graded by me. So let's get started with TOEFL writing question 1. Here's how it works. First up, you have 3 minutes to read an academic article. It's usually about 300 words. After that, you'll listen to a lecture. It's usually about 2 minutes long, about the same topic, and you'll take notes as you listen. Finally, you'll be given 20 minutes to write an essay that uses information from both the article and the lecture. Remember, you can see the article while you write your essay, but you cannot hear the lecture again. So you probably should take some good notes. All right, in just a moment, I'll put today's article on the screen. Before I do that, you should probably pause the video, grab a paper and pencil if you don't have it already, because you're going to be taking notes soon enough. All right, here goes. This is your article. You have 3 minutes to read it. I'll be back in a moment. All right, that's about 3 minutes. Get ready for a lecture on the same topic. You should take notes as you're listening. Good afternoon, class. Today I'll discuss the claim that the Phoenicians could not have circumnavigated Africa. Specifically, I'm going to challenge the three main points mentioned in the article you just read. Now, one common argument is that their small wooden ships were not designed for long-distance journeys across the ocean. However, it's really important to note that the Phoenician ships were surprisingly sturdy and well-equipped for long voyages. For example, their wooden hulls were reinforced with metal plates that made them extremely durable. Additionally, Phoenician sailors were quite skilled in repairing and maintaining their ships while at sea, which allowed them to stay afloat for surprisingly long periods. Secondly, it's often claimed that the geography of Africa would have made such a voyage impossible. Now, it's true that the Cape of Good Hope is a challenging region for navigation, but remember that the Phoenicians were very skilled and could use the stars and other natural landmarks to navigate the open ocean. Additionally, since the Phoenicians established trading posts along the West African coast, they could have gotten knowledge and advice about the local geography and currents from residents there. Finally, it's often claimed that there is no firm historical evidence to support the idea that they circumnavigated the continent. But there are some indirect historical records which support the idea that they made such a voyage. For instance, there are ancient Egyptian drawings that seem to depict Phoenician ships passing along the coast of North Africa. Not only that, but texts by ancient Greek historians refer to Phoenician sailors completing a voyage around the continent. All right, here's the question. Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they oppose specific points made in the reading passage. As I said, you have 20 minutes to write your essay, and you can refer to the reading as you write it. So I'll put the reading back on the screen, pause the video, give yourself 20 minutes to write the essay, and then come back and we'll get started on the independent writing task. All right, so now it's time for the independent writing task. It's pretty straightforward. Here's how it works. You have 30 minutes to write an essay about a question that asks for your personal opinion. Here's your question. What do you think is the best way for the government of your country to improve the environment? Increase public transportation, reduce the construction of new factories, or build more parks? As you write the essay, the question will remain on the screen, so I'll leave it on the video here for you. Pause the video, give yourself 30 minutes, and then come back and I'll show you my sample essays for both questions, and I'll talk about what I did when I wrote those essays. All right, welcome back. Here is my sample integrated essay about the Phoenician sailors. It's a 4-paragraph essay. I think it's about 280 words, which is a pretty good length for this task. Remember, as you write the essay at the test center, there is a word counter displayed on the screen, so you'll know how much you wrote. If you've seen any of my videos, the structure of this essay is very similar to all of them. First up is an introduction. I start the introduction by stating, the main topic, which is whether or not they circumnavigated Africa. And then after that, I state the author's opinion and then the lecturer's opinion. I've used one sentence to do that. I just used a compound sentence. Sometimes I use 2 separate sentences, one for the author, one for the lecture. Whatever you're comfortable with, doesn't really matter. After that, I've got my first body paragraph, and as you can see, I've just dealt with the first point from the reading and then the matching counterpoint from the lecture. So I've started by mentioning what the author argues about the ships being small and made of wood and having problems with the currents and storms. And then I mentioned the lecturer's counter-argument, which is that the ships were sturdy and well-equipped and that they had strong hulls and they were skilled at repairing and maintaining the ships. So that's what I've done. You can see I'm always very careful to make perfectly clear where the details are coming from. So I make it very clear that it's the author who mentions the ships being small and made of wood. Then I make it very clear that the lecturer thinks that they were sturdy and well equipped for long voyages. That's very important. Secondly, I just deal with the second points and counterpoint. I mentioned how the author argues that the Cape of Good Hope was notorious for its strong currents, challenging for navigation. And then immediately after that, I switch over to the lecturer's argument, which is that they were skilled navigators who could use the stars and that they had trading posts where they could get advice. Point, counterpoint. You know, I'm using some transitional phrases like additionally and in contrast. Those are important. I've got a mix of simple and compound sentences. I think each of these body paragraphs is, I think they're each about 4 sentences. Probably going to aim for 3 or 4 or 5 sentences per paragraph, you know, depending on your ability and depending on, you know, what kind of notes you took from the lecture. The last body paragraph is the same as the first two. It's got a point, counterpoint. You know, starts with the reading summary, ends with the lecture summary. I always think it's a smart idea to mention the reading first in each body paragraph. I think that makes your job a little bit easier. And that's totally okay as far as the raters are concerned. All right, so that's the integrated essay. If you've got any questions about what I did, leave a comment down below. If you found any mistakes in the essay, please leave a comment down below. I mean, I'm only human. There are always mistakes in these essays, and I love it when people find them because it tells me that somebody's paying careful attention to the videos. Next up is my independent essay. It's a pretty straightforward 4-paragraph essay. Starts with an introduction. I like to start my introductions with a broad sentence that introduces the general theme of the essay. In this one, the general theme is like a clean and healthy environment. After that, I've got my thesis statement. Personally, I think that, and that I list my choice, which is that they should reduce the construction of new factories. I end it with a transition, which is the same in all my essays pretty much. After that, I've got 2 body paragraphs. Each one gives a unique supporting reason for my thesis. So, you know, first up, I'm talking about air pollution, which damages our health. And then I talk about how factories ruin the natural landscapes, which affects our mental health. Each body paragraph is dominated by a personal example from my life. I think personal examples are really kind of easy to write, so I really like to emphasize those and lean into those. Otherwise, I try to avoid repeating words too many times, and I use a mix of simple and compound sentences, and I use some basic transitions like moreover and for instance, that sort of thing. And then at the end of the essay, the last body paragraph is a short conclusion. The conclusion is very basic. I begin by restating my thesis and then quickly restating each of the supporting reasons. And I try to paraphrase myself a little bit, so I'm not just using like a copy and paste from above when I write the conclusion. In total, I think this essay is about 390 words. I think that's a pretty good length. My general recommendation is 380 to 400 words. You can write less than that and still get a very high score, but I think it's more challenging. And remember, there is no penalty for writing a long essay. If you want to do more than 400, that's okay. Just make sure you're not working so fast that you make a bunch of mistakes. All right, that's it for my video today. If you want to know more about what I do, you can check me out at TOEFLresources.com. I'll put some links down in the video description below. Now, if you want to get your practice essays graded by me, what I want you to do is subscribe to the video, subscribe to the channel, and then put your essays in the comments down below. 1 essay per comment. about once a week, I'll pop in and I'll read the essays in the comments and I'll estimate how each of them would score. And if I have some time, I'll give you some advice and tips about what you could do differently next time. Now, if you do want a more comprehensive evaluation of your essay, check out TOEFLresources.com for my evaluation service where you can sign up, and it costs a little bit of money, but I will correct your grammar and usage line by line, and I'll give you very comprehensive advice about how you can do better when you write your next practice essay. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. But as always, I love to hear from you guys. I love your questions. So don't be shy. Leave some comments down below. In the meantime, stay tuned. There should be a new video up again in a few weeks. Take care. Goodbye, guys.